These videos are more of a documentary of my life more than anything else. It's more for my children to understand me, my aspects of life, the way I grew up, the way my family raised me, my beliefs, my faith in God, in Jesus, how they impact my life. It's just going to be that simple. If you don't like it, turn it off. I can remember being a year and a half old. My father had bought his first house, fresh out of high school. Him and my mom married in 1979. I wasn't born till 82. I can remember being about a year and a half old, and just loving life, enjoying both my parents. I remember them loving each other. I remember running around in the backyard as my dad was building a retaining wall. He had mountains of dirt. Well, to me, they were mountains. I was a baby walking. He helped me up to the top of these sand piles that looked like mountains to me, and I had always thought it was the top of the world. That feeling has never left. On top of the world. Holding my dad's hand. I didn't feel like I was holding his hand. I felt on top of the world, but he's holding my hand so I didn't fall. I remember stomping in ants and getting stripped naked out there with ant bites all over me. I can remember helping him mow and water the front yard trees, and I remember swinging the garden hose over my head, back and forth, just giggling and laughing, having a good time. It was dreams are made of. Whatever happens to that, I don't. We'll discuss it as things go on. It was playtime all the time, except I hated being out front without my parents because we lived next to a high school and they always were jerks. I always say it was alright, one day I'd be bigger than them. Might have happened. I can remember stories of when I was an infant of my mom inviting our pastor over to the house. And I remember her telling me that he held me and he didn't even know my name. They hadn't told him yet. And he just blurted out, "Baby David Joseph." My name. Pretty powerful to hear those words resonate in my mind today. Somebody who didn't know me, know my name, said my name. How? The puzzle I went on to figure out. Stay tuned to have that answer questioned, have that question answered, get my words right. I can remember there was this frog plant that lived in the hallway that my mom kept in the hallway. And I was scared of it. I had nightmares over that frog. She kept it until I was a teenager. broke several times over the years, but I had nightmares of that frog. It had trees, fake trees coming out of its back, and it was huge. It was a little bit bigger than a 5-gallon bucket. It was torment to me to walk down the hallway from my bedroom to the living room as a kid, especially at night. And then really concentrating about it, I can remember at night I would have nightmares so bad, and I would be afraid to be in my room, and I'd beat my head on the wall because I couldn't sleep because I was afraid. Because my parents had bought me a toy clown and stuck it on my toy box in my room, and it just took all the fear in me. They had to take me to a counselor, a child psychologist, to figure this out. I wasn't well enough to talk about it. I remember eating breakfast at the breakfast table most mornings and giving my dad a hug and a kiss goodbye, but there was one morning I forgot to give him a hug and a kiss, and my mom told me, "Go run after him. Go run after him. Go get him. Go give him a hug and a kiss before he goes to work." I leapt from that table. I ran with a big old box fan on those big old metal stands with the 2 wheels and 2 legs. Crack, my big toe. My right foot. Broke it. So much for my dad going to work that day. That might be just in my mind, but I can remember being in the ER room. My dad yelling at the nurse to put the ice on the other foot. But I don't recollect, but that's what stands out most in my head. And I remember walking around in a cast that we had to cut off and then put on with an ace bandage later on. Walking around with that. About that time, my mom, or soon thereafter, got pregnant with my little brother. Oh man. I didn't know what a big brother was. I didn't know it was going to be me. I just knew I was excited for it, and I knew what a baby was, and I knew that there was going to be one in the house. It was going to come from my mom. At that point, my mom was my best friend. Absolute best friend in the world. I remember playing with her throughout my pregnancy, chasing her around the house and jumping on her and landing and just having a blast. And I remember my dad would come home from work and be like, "You're playing too hard with your mom, calm down." My mom would just say, "We just play like this all day. You know, he's fine. He's fine. Let us play." I had fun with my dad too. He was always impeccable as a child. My mom, I always knew my mom did things wrong. She, openly admitted to it. Always say, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." My dad, he was always stoic. If he upset you, you told him about it, he didn't say sorry. He fixed his actions. As a child, I didn't understand that. I remember asking my mom many times throughout my childhood, "Why doesn't Dad ever just tell me he's sorry? Unless he ran over my foot with, a toy on accident or something, it wasn't, 'I'm sorry.' But if you hurt my feelings, it wasn't, 'I'm sorry.'" you caused me injury, personal injury, then yeah, it was a sorry I hurt you, but feeling wise, it was, let me correct that action instead. I didn't get that until I was in my 20s, at least, before I unpack that bag. My dad's the one who taught me to take the frozen pepperonis off the frozen pizzas and eat them while mom was in the shower or getting ready for bed. And King Soopers, Kroger, cinnamon rolls, always my favorite to this day. Still a favorite. I remember just enjoying the icing off it. I would eat 4, 5, 6 of them, but I would only eat the icing off the top for breakfast. And my mom would be getting ready for the day. And I'd go knock on the door and be like, I left you a present in the kitchen, Mom. Enjoy. A icingless cinnamon roll, what I left her. She never complained. And if I took the pepperoni, she didn't complain. Only complained when my dad took the pepperonis. Life was great, and my brother was born. I remember waiting in the hospital with my big brother now t-shirt, a little boy holding a balloon, and a little brother next to him holding his other hand. I didn't know what to expect, really. I knew he was a baby. I didn't expect that small. I remember sitting next to my mom in that bed and just, wow. And I remember my mom looking over at me saying, "This is your friend for life." Life. I don't know what life is. Forever. Alright. I don't know that either, but long time is what I understand. Wasn't thereafter. It was shortly thereafter that we're getting ready to move. I remember in that house, my parents bought their first brand new vehicle, a Ford Bronco 2, a light blue one with curved windows on the back. It was awesome. I remember sitting in my car seat looking out that window. I was like, wow, it's a panoramic view. This is so much better than Grandma's car. I remember watching my dad mow the yard one day, sitting on the porch, on the steps going up to the house and mowing the yard. And there goes a rock right out of the mower into the side window. Most expensive window to this day my dad says he's ever had to replace in a vehicle. It's that back window with a curve in it. In that house, I can remember playing in the basement with my dad. I can remember him setting up the train set in the unfinished room that he had down there and watching the lights in it glow as he let the train go around the track in the dark. It was so cool because I knew it was his toy from when he was a child. I mean, he was a kid, and the only respect a child I had was of same age. I felt so special. I remember the day he gave me that train set. Oh, I hold on to that and I look at it with such value that it's lasted and kept this long. He inspired me to like trains. remember living in that house, going over to my grandparents' house. Off in a dirt field, there was somebody selling pictures. And he pulled me out a train picture and hung it on my wall in the bedroom. Big old black steam engine train. And today it still hangs in my house. So many memories, so many fun, enjoyable times. I remember going to one of our favorite restaurants, Fargo's, with him. One time when we were there at that house, and it was maybe 2. It was the first time I'd went out to lunch with my dad on my own, without my mom. It was just in awe of him spending time with me. It was top of the world there too. I always remember my mom telling me my dad would never change a poopy diaper. He would drive me to my grandma's house to change my poopy diaper, so my grandma would do it. Go back forward, we're getting ready to move. And we go visit the house a few times while it's under construction, and I remember walking through it while it was still pretty much a skeleton, and the floors were in. There was no railings or nothing like that, and there was this bridge going from where my brother's rooms are going to be across over to the other side of the house. Big old long bridge, and it's the only way to get to the other side, and that's where their room was. There was no railings. I remember walking next to my dad's mom, my grandma, and just walking next to the edge. I'm like 2 inches away as a kid. I'm like, man, this is frightening. If I fall, I'm gonna die. Grandma's not paying attention to walking on my toes, and I'm freaking out. It was terrifying to go see the house like that. And so it's so cool at the same time to see it under construction, because we'd visited it when it was just the concrete in the basement, and then the main level was top, and then the second level was put on. It was cool to see it get built. And it was the first house in the area that they were moving into, which was pretty neat because there's nobody around us. At that point, my brother was just born. Just a few months old, maybe, when we moved in. Things were great for a while, and real life started happening. With my parents. And the ripples still echo of their choices today. I look back in that first house, and I think of all the joy and all the wonder that came from there. I remember getting my first 6-wheeled Power Wheels car there, for my second birthday, and it wouldn't turn right. My dad had to take the center wheels out so it would turn. Man, I remember thinking I had the coolest parents. These are some awesome toys. I don't remember Christmas there, though, or an Easter. I remember that birthday. I remember it was a choo-choo train cake. It was blue and white. And I had always thought that my mom's sister had made me that cake growing up, but my dad told me that it was my mom who had actually made that cake. That's pretty impressive because I'm even pictures of it in books today. It's still an impressive cake. My mom always made every birthday cake until I was in middle school. But the blessing of a joyful family for that long. Carefree days. Days where you just got up and played and loved everything that you did. Except for being tired when you threw a fit and didn't want to go to bed. Take a nap. Having my parents together in their house and happy and enjoying each other is what I remember is a real treasure to hold on to. Wait till the next chapter. Coming up real soon. For my children, thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next video. I love you more than life itself.